Clipless cycling shoes. Is there a good one for bike packing? Well, over the past few years, I've tested dozens of shoes, ruined and abused many, disliked most, but I have enjoyed a select few. So in my continued attempts to find that perfect shoe, over the past 3 months, I've been testing out this shoe, which is the Izumi X-Alp Summit. So in this video, I'm gonna share my thoughts on this shoe and what makes a good bike packing shoe in general, because this one checks a lot of those boxes. Let's do it. So if you like what you see on our YouTube channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And if you want to help support all the videos on our YouTube channel, everything that you see on BIKEPACKING.com, and of course, sign up for the Bikepacking Journal, which is our biannual print publication. You can do that by joining the Bikepacking Collective. The Bikepacking Collective is our yearly subscription through BIKEPACKING.com. If you want to learn more about the Bikepacking Collective, you can do so by clicking on the link below. So just to be transparent with you all, when I'm testing products, especially shoes, it's really important to get a lot of time on them, because the durability of a shoe is just as important as the performance. So over the past 3 months, these Izumi X-Alp Summits have pedaled 1,700 miles, 200 hours, and 230,000 feet of climbing. So what am I looking for in a shoe like this? Well, first off, something that's comfortable, not only when I'm pedaling all day, but also walking. I'm looking for a grippy outsole, something that actually grips really well to a trail. I'm looking for a durable and somewhat wider toe box for not only when I'm hiking, but also for swelling. I'm looking for a shoe that's easily adjustable on the fly, something that's durable, that's gonna last me a couple thousand miles, and of course, all in a lightweight package. So I brought up many of those characteristics in a past review of this shoe right here, which is the X-Alp Launch SPD. And while this shoe is great, it definitely doesn't have all of those characteristics. And that's where the X-Alp Summit comes into play. So I tend to size up with my cycling shoes because I try to account for that swelling when I'm on a bike packing trip. But the X-Alp Summit does not come in half sizes, so it's not as easy to size up. So I'm a US 11.5 without my swollen feet, of course. So I ended up going with a size 46 in these shoes. The sizing is a little bit larger than a normal 46, I would say. So it ended up working out pretty perfectly for my use case. So the shoe comes with a nylon composite shank, and so it definitely has quite a bit of flex to it. But it still is a cycling shoe, so it will transfer power better than a regular shoe. The cool thing about this is it flexes quite a bit, or a lot more, at the toe. So when you are hiking up a steep pitch on a trail, it will flex so you can actually grip into the trail. The shoe also comes with a Vibram EcoStep outsole with a pretty nice tread pattern, one that's most appropriate for this style of shoe. The shoe tightens down with a Velcro strap up by the toe, and then this oversized BOA closure system. This is the L6 fit system from BOA. This is a simple no fuss system that allows you to micro adjust the fit of your shoe, and it allows you to do so rather easily, so you can actually stay on your bike, bend down real quickly, and just tighten them down as your shoe kind of loosens up over your ride. The upper part is made out of a synthetic leather, and it comes with plenty of ventilation both on the sides and then on the toe. And finally, it comes with an EVA cushion. So this cushion is super padded. It's really nice. It helps hold that heel in, which is important when you're not only pedaling, but also when you're hiking. So talking about pedaling, so sure, this shoe is not the most efficient shoe out there as far as power transfer is concerned, but it's also not made to be. So while it does have quite a bit of flex to it, sometimes I feel like it might have just a touch too much flex to it. When I am hammering down on the pedal, I can feel the pedal and the cleat from time to time. But I mostly noticed the flexibility for the right reasons. And that typically was when I was either walking in town or walking on a trail with my bike. It contoured the ground really nicely. As I mentioned before, this heel cup is really awesome because it does not only help keep that heel in place, but in turn it also just helps keep your foot planted. And this is really important, especially when you're hiking or pedaling all day long, because it just creates less chafing and less movement means less blisters. So I also stuck with the standard insoles right off the bat for probably a few weeks, but my feet were much happier with my custom insoles. My feet are all messed up in the first place, so going with my custom insoles just gives me a little bit more support. All right, so talking about the hiking performance, This is where this shoe shines. No doubt this is a cycling specific shoe first, but Per Izumi definitely made sure that it excelled and performed well while hiking. The toe flex paired with the rubber and tread up front here give this shoe a serious hike-a-bike ability for both wet and loose conditions. And if there's one trail out there that just reminds me of that, it would be the Colorado Trail. And if any of you have ridden the Colorado Trail, you know some of those hike-a-bikes are ridiculous. This shoe performs extremely well on all of them. So this toe box here, it's not only reinforced, but it's also slightly wider. And the nice thing about that is it helps protect you from roots and rocks, but it also helps spread out the ball and the toes of your foot, which will help with balance and overall control when you're walking or hiking with your bike. So this is a SPD compatible shoe or a 2-bolt clipless system shoe, so it can take SPDs, crank brothers, what have you. One of the really neat things that Per Izumi has adapted to not only the launch here, but also this summit is the cleat box. And the cool thing about the cleat box is the cleat is completely protected whether you have the cleat all the way forward or all the way back or in the middle. So when you're hiking, you're not actually going to feel the cleat on the ground because it's completely underneath this cleat box. My cleat is placed all the way back, and I do that just because it actually reduces movement of the Achilles. And when you're riding your bike all day long, you definitely have a lot of Achilles movement and you just want to reduce that. Talking about this tread overall, it definitely has a softer rubber compound. It's kind of like tires. The softer the tire, the faster it's going to wear out, but the better it grips. So that's the exact same thing with this tread, and it definitely is showing a lot of signs of wear and tear, but I've been super happy with its reliability. Even when I'm hiking up a rock or something like that, all it needs is a tiny bit of surface area. It's really grippy, and so that's something I really appreciate. So talking about water now. So if you're mountain biking, you're probably going to be going through a creek. So this shoe does a good job of not only draining that water, but because it's light and there isn't actually a ton to absorb into, it dries rather quickly. All right, so just talking about the structure overall. So the tongue itself, kind of par for the course with Per Izumi. The tongue definitely goes to one side or the other, depending on what side shoe it is. Per Izumi X-Alp Launch does the exact same thing. It is not annoying in any way, but the tongue is just never going to be straight, at least for my feet. So the other thing is the side here, it almost collapses a little bit. And that's because my foot is really kind of skinny and it's flat. So there isn't a ton of room that the shoe needs to fill up in. So it just collapses a little bit. It doesn't hurt the integrity of the shoe, but if you have a bigger foot, I think it would fill out a little bit better. So overall, the structure itself, the upper doesn't really show any signs of major wear and tear. The stitching is all in order. Obviously the toe box and the sole of the shoe has seen quite a bit of wear and tear, and it goes to show here, but that's kind of as to be expected with the conditions that I've been using them in. So these shoes have performed really well, but there are a few things that I would either change or add to these shoes. First off, as always, I am a huge advocate of nice insoles, and I know most insoles are different for each foot, but if Per Izumi could offer an insole that just has a touch more structure to it, I think most people would be happier with their shoes. The other thing I would change is this rubber Vibram sole. I wouldn't change it too much, but I would just make sure that the rubber is a little bit more hard. And finally, I wouldn't mind seeing this shoe just slightly more stiff, just a touch more so that it has a little bit more power transfer, but still keep that toe flex in there. I think that would be the best of both worlds. So the Per Izumi X-Alp Summit checks all of those boxes in some way, shape, or form that I talked about earlier in this video. And it kind of looks good too, and it's lightweight, and it only comes in at $150. And compared to some other shoes on the market, that's really not that bad. The shoe is available in this color, which is smoked gray / black, in sizes 39 through 49. And it's also available in a spruce color in sizes 39 to 43. So now it's time to hear from you all. What do you all look for in a bike packing specific clipless shoe? Leave a comment in the comment section below. As always, thank you all so much for watching and for the support. And until next time, pedal further.